pressing, ironing, cutting. All of these are like, some things are very scary to do sometimes. And what is the difference and how do we do it? And why do we not want to iron? And all of those great things. So today we're going to talk about that. So I'm really excited about this because we're going to make it kind of simple for you, especially for beginning quilters. So as we are not beginning quilters, a lot of us have this wonderful thing called a stash, right? So, and my stash gets wrinkled. So we want to talk about why is it important to press and prepare your fabrics for cutting and the correct way to cut your fabric. First and foremost, we're going to talk about Premium Magic Quilting and Crafting Spray. This is a great product. It does not have any scent to it. It does not flake, and it's very economical. Win, 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 right? And when do we use it? I always use it to prep my fabrics for cutting. So what does that mean? Well, that means I'm going to go ahead, because if I were to use this piece of fabric right here, and you can see all of the folds and all of the creases, if I were to go ahead and start piecing this fabric or cutting this fabric, I'm going to potentially get some inaccurate cutting because of this wrinkle right here, which in turn is going to make inaccurate piecing. So we want our quilt, if we're going to spend all this time putting this together, we want to make sure it is perfect. So what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and we're going to spray our material. We're going to let that spray soak into our material, because it's important that those fabrics and those fibers have time to soak in this liquid, so this liquid can do its job. So when we have a piece of fabric, the difference between pressing and ironing, two different things, right? So pressing is when we're going to take our iron and we're going to just lay it down and we're going to press. Iron is when we actually move the iron. Now, granted, there are going to be times when I want to move the iron. So what is best for fabric to do that? Fabric has a lengthwise, a short side, and a bias. This bias is a 45-degree right here. You can see how stretchy that is. That would not be good to iron. The widthwise, it has a pretty good stretch to it as well. But if we go along the length, it doesn't stretch as much. So if we were to iron this, I want to go up the length, which is usually the selvage. Well, what happens if I'm going through my scraps and I cannot find which one is the selvage? There's no selvage here. Well, I know the bias is on the 45. I can take and I can feel and see my stretch here, or I can pull the stretch here and it's less. So this is going to be my length. So on this piece of fabric, we're going to go ahead and we're going to spray. We're going to let that, you can start to see that it's actually already a little bit relaxing on those little creases. And this is one I did just a little while ago. We're going to let that liquid just soak into those pieces of fibers, into those fibers. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I can go ahead and press. This is what I like to do with my individual pieces when we get down to 5-inch squares, 2.5-inch squares. I like to take my time and actually lift up and press down and hold it. And sometimes I go across a couple of times, take my time. Usually I'm watching some TV, listening to some good music, maybe dancing around in my sewing room. That's when my husband comes in and makes fun of me. But if I wanted to, and I had a big piece of fabric and I knew that this was my lengthwise, what I could do is I can come up this way and I can go ahead and I'm not going to stretch that fabric. I'm still going to be pretty gentle. I don't want to jam and press that super hard. Just let the iron with the heat do its job and take care and get all of that moisture out of that fabric. Now you can see there's a little bit more give to, there's a little bit more oomph, and there's this feels a little bit, this is nice and soft. You can see when I hold it, it's just, it like bends. This is still gonna bend a little bit, but it has a little bit more oomph to it. So it has this chemical, this product in this fabric right here, in the fibers. And it's gonna make it easier when I put the two of these together. If I were to sew, it's gonna help hold those pieces just a little bit better than if I had my two here without. They tend to move a little bit easier here. So this here holds and keeps my accuracy. So this is the reason that we want to prep all of our fabrics, and this is a great product. The Magic product is fabulous. If you want it extra thick, extra stiff, because it's going to go away when it gets washed, and it's also going to go away as you handle it more and more. But if you want even more, you spray it again and treat it twice, or really saturate it, let it soak it in for a little while, and then press your fabrics. All right, very important step into the quilting world. This is one that everybody gets super excited, walks into the house, is like, yay, I have my fabrics. I'm gonna start cutting and going away at it. Take your time, press your fabric, admire your fabric while you're pressing it, because it's a beautiful piece of fabric, and I'm looking at the design and I start imagining what my quilt's gonna be like. Let's move over to piecing. Well, or excuse me, to cutting, not piecing. Let's talk about our cutting mat. You see that the cutting mat has squares on it. We're gonna pretend that these are not here. While it is okay, some people like to prefer to cut with their mat. You either start with your mat and continue with your mat, but the little bit more accurate that we're gonna get, the accurate piecing, is gonna be able to do your fabric with these beautiful little lines in here. You can see this line right here. We're gonna go off of these lines. It's even more accurate, and you have less, we're gonna show you how to hold your ruler so there's less movement. Sometimes, and if I have a big long piece of fabric, it can move on this board, on this cutting mat, and it can cause some inaccuracies. So let's talk about how we're going to trim this piece of fabric into a 2.5 inch square and get it accurate. My first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lay it down here, and I am going to go and just cut a straight line, because I want a straight line without any fuzzies on it. I got a beautiful straight line here. With my straight edge right here, I'm going to line my ruler up with that black line right on that straight edge. Now I'm going to put my hand and I'm going to place it on top of this ruler. I like to have my pinky off of the ruler to kind of give me a foundation of holding that ruler. I'm going to take my rotary blade, I'm going to put it up against here, and I'm going to make sure that my hand is right next to where I'm cutting. When I need to, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lift that up and keep moving my hand down so I don't, what you don't want to do, let me show you here. What I don't want to do, and I'm just going to go ahead on this straight edge right here. We're just going to like I'm cutting a straight edge here. I don't want to hold it down here. And as I cut, I'm going to keep going this way. That's not what you want to do. So the whole idea is taking your ruler here, and we're going to cut a straight edge here. Take your time. Move your hand down your ruler. All right. So with this piece here, I cut my edge and I cut my edge right here. So I have a straight edge and I have a straight edge. I want 2.5 inches because I'm going to make a 2.5 inch square. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to line my straight edge up against this 1, 2.5. And then also along here, I did it in a 1/2 inch right here so you can see that it's nice and lined up right here. Now I'm going to cut that. So I have now this nice strip that's 2.5. And then you can see right here, I got a little bit of a curve right there, right? Because that's my one side that is not cut. So now I'm going to make my 2.5 inch square. So again, I'm going to come up over here. I'm going to line that straight edge up with my 5 inch. It doesn't matter, all of these black marks. If you wanted, you could line it up with your edge right here if that helps you to understand in your brain that it's 2.5 by 2.5. I kind of like having a little bit more space, and even around my ruler work here, I know that I have 1, 2.5, 1, 2.5. I kind of go off of that because sometimes, and especially if you go into stores and you're working at a quilt store, some rulers have a 1/2 inch here and not on this other side. And I am notorious for having the 1/2 inch and I'm like, oh, I'm at 2.5, but really now I'm at 3. So I always like to take my time, kind of look it over and make sure that I'm at 2.5 by 2.5 or whatever measurement you need to be. I'm going to put my ruler down, my rotary blade, move this away, and boom, I have a nice 2.5 inch square. Now let's do that again. I'm going to put this down here. I could do 2.5 by 2.5, nice and straight.
You're at 3, aren't you?
I am. Oh, good catch. Jake caught me. I'm going to do this again. Line up my straight sides right here. 1, 2.5, 1, 2.5. What I was just a few minutes ago is very common because I'm gabbing. 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2.5. So you can see how that would hopefully, if I were really paying attention instead of trying to talk here, make sure that I'm doing it the right way. We're just going to go ahead and leave that in. It should be a blooper, but it's going to be fabulous. So now I'm at 1, 2.5, 1, 2.5. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut that. And now I have my 2 pieces. Now with having that magic in my fabric, they're a little bit stiffer. You can see it now for sure because it's not so floppy. If I would cut a little guy off of here, kind of about the same size. You can see when I hold him, he's a little floppy, whereas here they're a little bit stiffer. This is what we're talking about. This is what's really nice to work with when you're piecing. So now when I line up my fabrics, I have that nice gritty, they grab each other just a little bit. And so when I'm pushing it through, they'll keep those a little bit even. All right. So pressing, ironing, cutting, just go ahead and first of all, take your time because you learned from me from my one mistake already, right? We got to take our time. When you press, enjoy the process. On little pieces like this, now I'm always just going to press it down. I'm going to lift it up. I don't want it because I don't know which way it is and I don't want to mess with my piece because I just cut it very accurately. I want to keep it that way. I don't want to stretch my fabric. I want to make sure that everything stays nice in the same form. When you're cutting, make sure you take your time. I highly encourage not to use the rulers on your, the lines on your mat. That's why I kind of work a little bit on the diagonal because then it looks like just a nice design to me. So I'm going to watch my lines here. I'm going to make sure I count. I'm going to line everything up and use your lines, even your half marks, your quarter marks are great. So you can see, because sometimes on some fabrics, like a black fabric, these black lines are still even a little bit too thick. So I like to go off into the increments here, okay? All right, guys, you are fabulous. Like, subscribe, share. We're trying to let us know in the comments below what you would like to see for videos. We pay attention to those. I like to comment. And you guys are fabulous. Have an awesome day.